Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're having a wonderful Friday. It is the weekend, and we have a surprise album on our hands here. Taylor Swift dropped her eighth studio album. Totally unexpected. When I read the news a couple days ago, I was giddy like a little schoolboy. I was so excited. I am a big Taylor Swift fan. I did like her previous album, Lover. What am I saying? I like most of her albums, and why I say most is because I actually haven't listened to all her albums in full yet. I definitely want to go on my Taylor Swift discography journey because there are still a few albums of hers I haven't listened to in full yet. But of course, I've listened to all her biggest hits and what have you. But this album in particular, I know nothing about. All it says is alternative for the music genre right here. And there are 16 tracks, and the album is 1 hour and 4 minutes. I haven't heard any of these songs yet. I don't know what to expect. I was staying off social media for the last 12 hours because I didn't want to know what people were saying about this album. I wanted this to be a true first listen video, so I don't know if this is a brilliant album or if it's just an okay album. So I'm really excited. Oh, you have no idea. But enough talking, let's dive right into the album with track number one, The One.
I'm doing good, I'm on some new shit. Been saying yes instead of no. Guess you never know, never know. And if you wanted me, you really should have showed. And if my wishes came true, it would have been you. If you would have been the one.
Alrighty, and that was track number one, The One. And first and foremost, I love the atmosphere that this album is setting. And we're only one track in. And it's helping that it's cloudy outside right now where I am. And it's kind of raining. So it's definitely setting the mood and tone. And one thing I love about Taylor Swift, probably my number one favorite thing about Taylor Swift, are her lyrics. I love her lyrics so much. She is such a fantastic songwriter. I always resonate with Taylor's lyrics, and they're always so heartfelt and meaningful. It's like reading a diary, and she's just a very talented songwriter. So now let's move on to track number two, Cardigan.
Vintage tea, brand new phone, high heels on, cobblestones. I knew you, dancing in your Levi's, drunk under a street light. And when I felt like I was an old cardigan under someone's bed. Who's the one? When you are young, they assume you know nothing. You put me on and said I was your favorite.
Alrighty, and that was track number two, Cardigan. And from my understanding, this is the lead single off the album. It says right here, lead single, Cardigan. And I can see why I really enjoy that song. Wow. Oh, I mean, I am not surprised. I love all of the Taylor Swift albums I've listened to so far in my life, and this one is no exception. The lyrics, once again, are a highlight for me. I love the lyric, and when I felt like I was an old cardigan under someone's bed, you put me on and said I was your favorite. I also like this lyric, when you are young, they assume you know nothing. I can very much relate to that lyric because I am 30 years old right now, but I remember all through my 20s talking to specific adults. I mean, obviously, when you're in your 20s, you are an adult, but you know what I mean? Speaking to older adults who are a bit more seasoned in life, who were in their 40s and 50s, 60s, you try to have a conversation with them. And more often than not, it is a very pleasant experience. But I've encountered times where some of them just wouldn't listen to me because of my age. They would totally disregard me. And I'm experiencing that on my YouTube channel as well. I've had a few comments, people saying they won't take me seriously and they won't listen to me because I am a millennial. Point blank, I'm a millennial, so whatever I have to say doesn't matter. And it does hurt to an extent, but it also makes me laugh. There have been many people in this last decade when I was in my 20s, people around my age, who you only have to have a conversation with them and you can just tell they are so intelligent, they are so bright, they are so wise. More so than some of the grown adults I've met in my life, grown adults in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. So what I'm trying to say is, just because you're young doesn't mean you're stupid. Playing the hide and seek and giving me your weekends. I knew you. Your heartbeat on the high line once in 20 lifetimes. Oh. But anyway, we have to move on to track number 3, The Last Great American Dynasty.
Rebecca rode up on the afternoon train. It was sunny. Bill was the heir to the Standard Oil name. And they said, there goes the last great American dynasty. There goes the maddest woman this town has ever seen. Filled the pool with champagne and swam with the big names and blew through the money on the boys and the ballet. I had a marvelous day.
Alrighty, and that was track number 3, The Last Great American Dynasty. This song, in my opinion, is a lot to unpack just from reading the lyrics. I don't really know who or what she's singing about in this song. It is my first time reading this song, and I have to move on with the rest of the track, so I don't have time to really analyze it. So if you guys know what this song is about and who she is singing about, I feel like there's a lot going on in this song that I'm not really getting. I don't know if the story she's telling in this song actually happened or it's some sort of metaphor for something else. I had a marvelous time ruining everything. A marvelous time. There goes the loudest woman this town has ever seen. I had a marvelous time ruining everything. So there was this Rebecca. Rebecca rode up on the afternoon train. It was sunny. Bill was their heir to the Standard Oil name, and the town said, how did a middle class divorcee do it? The wedding was charming, so they got married. They picked out a home, called it Holiday House. Their parties were tasteful. The doctor had told them to settle down. It must have been her fault. His heart gave out. And they said, there goes the last great American dynasty. Who knows if she never showed up, what could have been? So if this woman never showed up, if this woman never married this man, who knows what could have happened? There goes the maddest woman that this town has ever seen. So apparently this woman is a bit crazy. She's a bit psychotic. Taylor doesn't seem to like her. She had a marvelous time ruining everything. So this woman who married this man ruined everything, this Rebecca. Rebecca gave up on the Rhode Island set forever. Flew in all the bitch pack friends from the city. Filled the pool with champagne and swam with the big names. So this woman entered this man's life and married him, and they bought a house and they settled down. But then this man died. And this Rebecca kind of took over and she blew through all the money. Apparently she was crazy and psychotic. She was mad as hell. And this woman ruined everything. They say she was seen on occasion pacing the rocks, staring out at the midnight sea. And in a feud with her neighbor, she stole his dog and died at Key Lime Green. 50 years is a long time. And then the Holiday House sat quietly on the beach, free of the mad woman. Like I said already, the song is a lot to unpack. It's like I was watching a movie on the screen, but instead of watching a movie on the screen, it's like I was reading it in musical form, in lyric form, if that makes sense. Because I really want to know what this song is about, typically I would have just looked up the meaning behind the song. But because this album is so new, it just came out today, I don't know if there's actually an explanation online as to what the song is about, but I'm gonna try. Oh, here we go. The story behind The Last Great American Dynasty, the most telling song on Taylor Swift's surprise album. Yes. It turns out this Rebecca has quite the backstory. The woman is Rebecca West Harkness, a famously wild heiress from St. Louis who once owned the Rhode Island coastal mansion that Swift purchased in 2013 for about $17 million. Bill was the heir to the Standard Oil name and money, and the town said, how did a middle-class divorcee do it? Swift sings. They picked out a home and called it Holiday House. Their parties were tasteful, if a little loud. It also says Howard Hughes used to stop by, and I know who Howard Hughes is because of The Aviator. It's one of my favorite movies, and it stars Leonardo DiCaprio. So if you haven't seen that movie, I definitely suggest checking it out. I could go on, but we do need to move on to the next song. So I just wanted to check out the essence of the song and what it was about. But before we move on, I just want to point out this one word. I do like to write books, so words are really important to me. I always love discovering new words. The wedding was charming, if a little gauche. Gauche. I have never heard that word before. I've never read that word before, so I wanted to know what it meant. And apparently it means lacking ease or grace. Unsophisticated and socially awkward. But anyway, let's move on to track number 4, Exile, featuring Bolivar. And I don't know if I pronounced his name properly. I am so sorry. Bolivar. I hope I pronounced it right.
I can see you standing on it with his arms around your body. I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending.
You were my crown, now I'm in exile, seeing you out. I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending.
Already, and that was track number 4, Exile, featuring Bolivar. And I'm speechless. This is this my favorite track on the album so far? I don't know, but it's definitely one of my favorites. I'm in love with this album. I have no words. I'm a little speechless, and I will say I love Bolivar's voice. He has such his voice. I wish I had his voice. Instead, I'm stuck with the voice I have now. I will also say we are halfway through summer. I know, right? And I will continue listening to this album throughout the rest of summer, but also into fall and winter. In my opinion, this is a great album to listen to during the fall months and the winter months when it's a bit colder out and the leaves start changing. Perhaps you get snow where you are and you're curling up with a blanket and some candles like what I have right there. It's just putting me in that mindset and that mood. What I also love about Taylor Swift's albums are the melodies. I already said earlier in this video that my number 1 favorite thing about a Taylor Swift album are the lyrics, but my number 2 are the melodies. The melodies always seem to just sweep you off your feet and just take you somewhere. But anyway, let's move on to track number 5, My Tears, Ricochet.
We gather here, we line up, weeping in a sunlit room. Cursing our name, wishing I stayed. Look at how my tears ricochet. When you can't sleep at night, you hear my soul.
Alrighty, and that was track number 5, My Tears, Ricochet. This was another great song. The production on this song in particular was very haunting. I really liked it. It was very ghostly, and I don't know, it was kind of reminding me of The Archer from her Lover album. The build up there was really nice, and I'm just running out of good things to say, to be honest with you. This was You hear my stolen lullabies. I didn't have it in myself to go with grace, and so the battleships will sink beneath the waves. You had to kill me, but it killed you just the same. Cursing my name, wishing I stayed, you turned into your worst fears, and you're tossing out blame. Drunk on this pain, crossing out the good years, and you're cursing my name, wishing I stayed. Look at how my tears ricocheted. I always loved that word, ricocheted. You don't hear it a lot, but I love it for some reason. It's just, honestly, it might be one of my favorite words. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding with you. Ricochet. Oh, I love it. But now let's move on to track number 6, Mirrorball. Alrighty, and that was track number 6, Mirrorball. I wonder what I'm gonna say about this song. I loved it. It was amazing. It was spectacular. I'm running out good things to say. Just the typical stuff. Anyway, the song was also co-written by Jack Antonoff, and I love Bleachers. I love Jack Antonoff so much. He's such a great songwriter and producer, and this was another haunted song in my opinion. I want you to know I'm a mirror ball. I'll show you every version of yourself tonight. I'll get you out on the floor, shimmering beautiful, and when I break, it's in a million pieces. Hush. I'm sure a lot of these songs have a significant meaning to them, especially this song. I'm sure this song is about an experience or something she went through, or I don't know. I feel like I could obviously research every single one of these songs, but I have to move on to the next songs. I feel like that would just take forever if I was to look into what each and every one of these songs are about. So leave a comment, tell me what some of these songs are about. And they called off the circus, burned the disco down when they sent home the horses and the rodeo clouds. I'm still on that tightrope. All I do is try. I'm still on that trapeze. So she's still stuck on this trapeze even though she keeps tried. I'm still tried everything to keep you looking at me. She wants this person or these several people to keep looking at her because she's a mirror ball and she'll show you every version of yourself. I don't know, that's my interpretation of the song. Anyway, now let's move on to track number 7. Oh.
Please picture me in the trees. I hit my peak at 7. Sweet tea in the summer. Cross your heart, won't tell no other. And I've been meaning to tell you, I think your house is haunted. Passed down like folk songs. Our love lasts so long.
Already, and that was track number 7. And I want to go back to track number 6 for a brief moment because I forgot to say that as I was listening to track number 6, Mirrorball, it kind of reminded me of a 70s song. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but I just wanted to point that out quickly before I started talking about track number 7. But track number 7 I liked as well. It's not one of my favorite tracks on the album. It might be one of my least favorites, but I still liked it just like the rest of the album. It fits in well with the rest of the album, and I like the lyrics. I don't know if I'm forming my own story in my head, but as I'm reading the lyrics to these songs, it's like I'm wandering through the woods, and I'm looking at the album artwork as I say this. It's like I'm wandering through the woods, and all of a sudden I stumble upon this really old book. And I open it up, and it's filled with all these songs and all these lyrics, you know, passed down from person to person. And you don't know when these songs were written. You can just tell they were written by this young woman from whatever time in whatever place. I still got love for you. Pack your dolls and a sweater. We'll move to India forever. Passed down like folk songs. Our love lasts so long. And that's another theme I'm picking up on the album is she seems to be singing about this person and falling in love. This goes back to track number 2, Cardigan, how she was talking about this person using the metaphor of an old cardigan. This person finds this old cardigan under a bed and they try it on and it's the perfect fit or what have you. And she is the old cardigan and this person puts it on and she feels special again. And in track number 7, she does say our love lasts so long, passed down like folk songs. So she is singing about love, falling in love perhaps. She fallen head over heels for this person. I don't know if it's the same person she's singing about. I don't even know if that's what she is singing about. I'm just kind of interpreting the songs the best I can. Though she is singing about love, she's also singing about heartbreak, like in track number 5, My Tears Ricochet. Did I deserve, babe, all the hell you gave me? Cause I loved you, I swear I loved you till my dying day. I did have it in myself to go with grace. So now we will move on to track number 8, August.
Salt air in the dust on your door. But I can see it's lost in the memory. August slipped away into a moment in time. It was never mine. And I can see it's twisted bed sheets. August sipped away like a bottle of wine. 'Cause you were never mine. Never mine.
Alrighty, that was track number 8, August, and in my opinion, this was a cute song. I enjoyed listening to it. It was cute, but it was a little heartbreaking at the same time. She is singing about summer love and how August slipped away into a moment in time because it was never mine. And I can see us twisted in bed sheets. August sipped away like a bottle of wine. I really like that lyric there. August sipped away like a bottle of wine. Ugh. Wishing I could write my name on it. Will you call when you're back at school? I remember thinking I had you, but I can see us lost in the memory. Remember when I pulled up and said get in the car and then cancel my plans just in case you call? Back when I was living for the hope of it all. For the hope of it all. And this song was also co-written by Jack Antonoff once again. So now we will move on to track number 9. This is Me Trying.
I've been having a hard time adjusting. I had the shiniest wheels, now they're rusting. I just wanted you to know that this is me trying.
Alrighty, and that was track number 9. This is Me Tried. I don't need to try to love this album because I already do. I loved it since the first track on this album, and this is probably one of my favorite tracks on the album so far. It's very folk sounding, and I can't even explain or articulate what I want to say right now. I'm just loving the production on this album. I love the mood, I love the atmosphere, and it's hard to be anywhere these days when all I want is you. You're a flashback in a film reel on the one screen in my town. And I just wanted you to know that this is me trying. Maybe I don't quite know what to say. I just wanted you to know. She does seem to be singing about, on this album, past memories. Like, for example, in this song, she is reminiscing about the flashbacks or a flashback in a film reel on the one screen in my town when all I want is you. And this goes back to track number 8, August, when she's singing about a summer love, how it kind of just faded away, sipped away like a bottle of wine. There's something very dreamlike about this album. It's like I'm floating at times. It's like I'm just floating and I'm weightless. So now we'll move on to track number 10, Illicit Affairs.
Make sure nobody sees you leave. Hood over your head, keep your eyes down. That's the thing about illicit affairs and clandestine meetings and longing stares. But they lie and they lie and they lie a billion little times. Don't call me kid, don't call me baby. Look at this idiotic fool that you made me. Billion little times.
Alrighty, and that was track number 10, Illicit Affairs. Another great song, more great production. Again, co-written by Jack Antonoff. So it's gonna be a great song because not only is Taylor Swift on the song, but also Jack Antonoff. So a double whammy. And there is another word in this song that I've never heard before. What started in beautiful rooms ends with meetings and parking lots, and that's the thing about illicit affairs and clandestine meetings. And not only that, but there is another word I've never heard before. I'm so sorry for not interested in discovering new words, but I absolutely love discovering new words. A dwindling mercurial high, a drug that only worked. And mercurial means of a person subject to sudden or Unpredictable changes of mood or mind. Mercurial. Some of you might be rolling your eyes at me just finding all these interesting words I've never heard before, but I really don't care. I love words so much. Anyway, let's move on to track number 11, Invisible String.
Green was the color of the grass where I used to read at Centennial Park. Turn, curious turn, give me no compasses, give me no signs. All along there was some invisible string. She said I looked like an American singer. All along there was some invisible string.
Already announced track number 11, Invisible String. And once again, she is reminiscing. She is bringing back past memories. Green was the color of the grass where I used to read at Centennial Park. I used to think I would meet somebody there. Teal was the color of your shirt when you were 16 at the yogurt shop. Gave me no compasses, gave me no signs. Were there clues I didn't see? And isn't it just so pretty to think all along there was some invisible string tying you to me? And then she brings up Bad Blood in the cab on their first trip to LA. You ate at my favorite spot for dinner. I like this line in particular. Something wrapped all of my past mistakes in barbed wire. Chains around my demons. Wool to brave the seasons. One single thread of gold tied me to you. She also brings up having an axe to grind with all the boys who broke up with her and broke her heart. Cold was the steel of my axe to grind for the boys who broke my heart. Now I send their babies presents. This was another great song that I enjoyed listening to, just like the rest of the album. So now let's move on to track number 12, Mad Woman.
What did you think I'd say to that? Does a scorpion sting when fighting back? Does she mouth fuck you forever? And when you say I seem angry, I get more angry. And there's nothing like a mad woman. Now I breathe flames each time I talk. My cannons all firing at your yacht. No one likes a mad woman.
Already, that was track number 12, Mad Woman. I feel like this song is pretty self-explanatory. There are people who are essentially saying that they're calling her crazy. She's calling her insane, and she's a mad woman. And there's nothing like a mad woman. What a shame she went mad. No one likes a mad woman. Does a scorpion sting when fighting back? They strike to kill, and you know I will. And then she goes on to say, and you'll poke that bear till her claws come out. Now I breathe flames each time I talk. My cannons all firing at your yacht. They are calling her crazy, but the more they call her crazy, the more crazier she becomes. So there might be some gaslighting happening here as well. I will also say Taylor Swift swore in this song. She said the word fuck, which I don't think I've heard her say the word fuck before in any of her songs. I'm trying to think back, and nope, I don't think I've heard her say a curse word before. It was a little shocking. So now let's move on to track number 13, Epiphany.
Keep your helmet, rolling off the beaches now. Sir, I think he's bleeding now. What you breathing out,
Alrighty, and that was track number 13, Epiphany, and this was simply a remarkable and beautiful song. I get the impression she might be singing about a war in the song. I don't know if that's the intention. Just from reading the lyrics, she is singing about keep your life, son, keep your helmet, just a flesh wound. Here's your rifle, crawling up the beaches now. Sir, I think he's bleeding out. So she might be singing about D-Day, the Battle of Normandy in 1944. I don't know, that's my interpretation of the song. Leave a comment, tell me what this song is actually about. So now let's move on to track number 14, Betty.
Betty, I won't make assumptions about why you switched your homeroom, but I think it's 'cause of me. But if I just showed up at your party, would you have me? Would you want me? Betty, I know where it all went wrong. Your favorite song was playing from the far side of the gym. Yeah, I showed up at your party. Will you have me? Will you love me? But I know I miss you.
Already, and that was track number 14, Betty, and this was a very interesting song to read. Once again, she's reminiscing, she's bringing back old feelings and memories. She does say, when I was 17, somewhere in this song, I'm only 17, I don't know anything, but I know I miss you. And she's singing about this Betty. She's also singing about a gentleman called James, and it's a little confusing. Betty, I'm here on your doorstep, and I planned it out for weeks now, but it's finally sinking in. Betty, right now is the last time I can dream about what happens when you see my face again. And the way she's singing about this Betty is very... Initially, I thought maybe her and this Betty were just friends and they had a falling out back in high school or back when they were teenagers. But then she goes on to say at the very end, I showed up at your party. Will you have me? Will you love me? Will you kiss me on the porch in front of all your stupid friends if you kiss me? And I thought maybe she was singing about a guy or this James here. She said, James, get in, let's drive. But she's singing about this Betty, and it's very romantic. She's singing about kissing, so I don't know what to make of that. Did she perhaps have a romantic relationship with another female? I don't know. That's kind of what she's alluding to. I've never heard a Taylor Swift song where Taylor is singing romantically about another female. It's always about a gentleman or a boy or a guy she used to date. I'm really curious to know if this Betty was real or if it's just a metaphor for someone else. I saw you dance with him. You heard the rumors from Inez. Rumors. You can't believe a word she says. So I'm a little confused as to what is happening. I was walking home on the broken cobblestones just thinking of you when she pulled up. Like a figment of my worst intentions, she said, James, get in, let's drive. But then she also goes on to say, slept next to her, but I dreamt of you all summer long. Slept next to her. So, did Taylor Swift date a female? Is Taylor Swift perhaps a little bisexual? I don't know. That's kind of how I'm interpreting the song right here. But at the very end, she says, I know I miss you, standing in your cardigan. And this goes back to track number 2, Cardigan, as well. Kissing in my cardigan, stopped at a streetlight, you know I miss you. So please let me know in the comments what this song is about and who this Betty is and what is happening. But anyway, let's move on to track number 15, Peace.
A coming of age is come and gone. Suddenly this summer it's clear. Would it be enough if I could never give you peace? But there's robbers to the east, clowns to the west. I'd give you my sunshine, give you my best. But would it be enough if I could never give you peace?
We're now kind of wrapping up the album. We only have one more track left after this one. And she's saying, I would die for you in secret. The devil's in the details, but you got a friend in me. But there's robbers to the east, clouds to the west. I give you my sunshine, give you my best, but the rain is always gonna come. So my interpretation of the song is that Taylor Swift is always gonna have an uphill battle. She's always gonna have, I hate using this word, but she's always gonna have haters. She's always going to have people hate her for simply being herself. People are always gonna hate Taylor Swift and her music, and they're always gonna roll her eyes at her. And there's always going to be a storm in her life. The rain is always going to come. And so when she says, would it be enough if I could never give you peace? Would it be enough if you were in my life if I was dating you and there was never peace when it came to the drama and the tabloids and people talking about me. At least that's what I think the song is about. I mean, I was on Facebook earlier today and some of the local news stations in my city and country posted that Taylor Swift put out a new album, and I kind of browsed through the comments, and I want to say a good 98% of them were from people saying, oh, who cares, and using the eye roll emoji and just putting her down and just making fun of Taylor Swift and her music. And it's really sad because she really is a talented artist, and it's so sad she's not given the respect that she deserves, because a lot of people make fun of her for always having the breakup songs that, oh, she put out a new album, so I guess she just broke up with someone, or she just broke up with someone, so she's gonna put out a new album soon and sing about it. That's always a very cliche thing to say about Taylor Swift. I feel like she is moving past that. She's grown so much, and I'm really hoping there will be a day soon where we all can kind of just respect Taylor Swift. So we have come to the end of the album, track number 16, Hoax.
My smoking gun, my eclipsed sun, stood on the cliffside screaming, give me a reason. You know I left a part of me back in New York. You knew the hero died, so what's the movie for? You knew it still hurts underneath my scars from when they pulled me apart, but what you did was just as dark. You have beaten my heart.
Okay, and that was the final track of the album, Hoax. And wow, this was a great song like the rest of the album, but I will say this album is a bit somber. I wasn't expecting anything happy or uplifting just from looking at the album artwork. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. This isn't the happiest album of all time, but it's not supposed to be. She's buried it all her scars and her stories and her hardships, her love and her falling out of love, and the tears and everything she's learned up until now in her career. And I could just see the growth, just seeing from where she started with her debut album, and then Fearless, and then Red, and so on and so forth, 1989, and then Reputation, and then Lover, and now this. Just so much growth and so much variety, and I love this album so much. I loved Lover, but I think I love this album more than Lover, and I love the production, I love the atmosphere, I love the lyrics. It's so calming, and there's just so much to learn on this album. Not just about Taylor Swift, but about life and experience and going through things. And that's why I've always loved Taylor Swift's work, is because she's gone through so much shit in her life, so much hate and anger and frustration, just like anybody else on the planet. And I always love reading what she has to say. She also brings up quite a few different people on this album, like in track number 3, The Last Great American Dynasty, also track number 14, Betty, and there were other parts of the album that I felt like she was talking about someone in particular, someone that I don't know, but someone who might have been close to her at the time. And of course, she's also speaking about relationships. This wouldn't be a Taylor Swift album if she didn't sing about some sort of relationship or relationships. I loved every single track on this album. There isn't one track on this album that I disliked. Obviously, there are tracks I enjoy more than others, but honestly, I couldn't even tell you what my top 3 songs are, because I have no idea. I couldn't even tell you what my top 5 songs or my top 2 songs. I can't even tell you what my favorite song on this album is. There were a couple songs on this album I was a little indifferent to that I would listen to again, but they're just not my favorites. But as a whole, I loved this album so much. This is definitely a lot different than her past work, like Reputation and Lover. I mean, how do we go from an album like Reputation to an album like Folklore. She has the rest of her life to keep putting out albums. So what is she going to be singing about 20 years from now, 30 years from now? What is she going to be singing about when she's an old woman in her 60s? You know? I can't even imagine that. So what did you guys think of the album? What are your favorite songs? Maybe you don't think this album is as good as I'm making it out to be. I think this is a great album. Tell me why you don't think this album is as good as I'm making it out to be. Maybe you love it even more than me, if that's even possible. Yeah, and I think that's all I wanted to say. So thanks for watching, guys. You can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Twitter, you can message me, you can tell me other artists I should check out. I'm open to any artists from any decade. You can find me on Apple Music, you can check out my playlist, and so on and so forth. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.